Good evening, YouTube. How you doing? Welcome back to Blu-Roy Movies, and I've got the weekly watches for you. And caveat for you, I'm fully not sure how this video is going to go. It's 6 something in the evening. It's 28 degrees. I've been up since the crack of dawn. I've been at work. I'm bloody knackered, but I need to get this recorded. I can't do it tomorrow, really. We're busy tomorrow, so it's now or never. We're away at the weekend, so I've got 2 weeks worth of films for you, and I struggle sometimes to remember what I watched the day before, so going back, getting on for like well over a week, I'm not sure what I'm going to remember and what I can forget, so bear with me. I trust you guys to give me a bit of leeway. I'm going to give it my best shot. But God, it's so hot. I've got the fan going. I've got most of the lights off to try and keep it cool. I normally don't bother with the heat, but it's got to be a bit today. So enough of whinging, enough moaning. Let's get on with this. Let's do the weekly watches. Let's crack on with this. Right, I started off with a rewatch of Terminator Salvation from 2009, directed by MCG, I don't know, made up name, starring Christian Bale, Sam Worthington, Helena Bonham Carter, the late Anton Yelchin, rest in peace, Common, another made up name, probably why the made up name director cast made up name star, Bryce Dallas Howard, like Bryce Dallas Howard, and Michael Ironside. And this is easily the worst so far of the franchise. It absolutely throws away the tension, the world building of Terminator 2, and for some part Terminator 3, because I quite like Terminator 3. Absolutely throws it all in the bin and just makes a generic action film. Now I think I've watched this 3 or 4 times, and every time I've struggled with it, to be fair. It's just boring, dull, uninteresting, generic, and yeah, totally struggle with it, to be honest. But I've been trying to watch through the franchise again, and yeah, it worked for me, I'm afraid. I believe it has got some fans. Bale is decent in it. Sam Worthington, not the best. Bryce Dallas Howard, I like her, but yeah, just struggled with it, to be honest. I only watched it a few days ago, like I alluded to in the intro, and struggling to recall much of it again. And yeah, totally throwaway film, Terminator Salvation. Right, next up, from 1962, directed by Orson Welles, was The Trial, starring Anthony Perkins, Jean Moreau, Romy Schneider, Orson Welles, and Peter Sallis made a bit part appearance in it, who you might remember from Last of the Summer Wine. Now, this film, it looks beautiful. It's shot fantastically. The use of black and white in there really appealed to this 4K transfer. Yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous looking. But, the big but, the film was far too weird for me. It follows Perkins' character, and late one night his home is invaded by court officials, by police, and he's accused of a crime that he's never explained to him what the crime is, and ordered to stand trial. And it's just bizarre. Imagine a dream, just a stupid dream, like you don't know what's going on. And I've had plenty of dreams like this film where I woke up and just thought, what the hell was all that about? And that's what this film is like. I've still got no clue what it was about. No clue what Hopkins was accused of, and yeah, it just far too bizarre, far too surreal for its own good. Now, don't get me wrong, Perkins, a fantastic performance in this. He was really, really good, and I do feel sorry for him in a way that after Psycho, he was typecast, if you like, as this Norman Bates wacky character, and I think there's more to him than this, but yeah, 2 on the pounds, I'm afraid. And yeah, maybe, like I say, it's just that I'm bloody grumpy because it's too hot and I'm tired, but yeah, this wasn't for me, the trial. I don't think it will stay in the collection. I think I'll probably look to move it on, keep the space for something I will like. Yeah, a lot of people reading the comments did seem to enjoy it, but no, it weren't for me, I'm afraid. That's The Trial from 1962 from Orson Welles. I tell you what was for me, though, was this one from 1970, directed by Paul Stanley, starring Vince Edwards, Richard Basar, William Shatner from Star Trek, and Patrick Wayne. You know what, I do like Patrick Wayne, son of John, and he's this chiseled, good-looking guy who plays a good role, just as like you'd imagine from John's son. Yeah, I think he's very underrated and in the shadow of his dad. Now, Soul Survivor from 1970 is a TV movie, and I can imagine it being like a feature-length episode of The Twilight Zone. It's all about this bomber that's found in the desert sort of like 17 years after World War II, and only one person survived the crash, and he has now made it on to be general in the Air Force, and he goes along with a team investigating what happened to this bomber during the war to try and uncover what happened. And this general, the sole survivor, he's not as forthright as what you'd think, and he'd actually bailed out to leave his crewmates to face certain death. And the crew of the ship are now ghosts surrounding the ship, and they can't find freedom or return to the earth or go to heaven or whatever until their bodies are discovered and reappropriated into the United States. And as these guys are trying to investigate what happened at the crash site, the ghosts of this airship are trying to point the direction in the Soul Survivor and say, look mate, this is what was happened, this is the guy that was responsible for our death. And it becomes more and more apparent to the Soul Survivor that the ghosts are watching and they've got his number. Yeah, really, really good fun. I really enjoyed this. When I logged it on Letterboxd, there's only a handful of people who watch this film, so it's a crying shame, and I think more people should watch this film. Yeah, it's a really good one. I think there's a couple of copies at CEX for £4, and then it's stupid money on eBay. So if you fancy the sound of it, get over to CEX and order yourself a copy. Yep, Soul Survivor, good stuff. Sorry guys, had to grab a Coke. Right, next up, and another win actually, was from last year, 2024, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who I am a fan of actually, and that was Trap, starring Josh Hartnett, Ariel Donahue, Salika Night Shyamalan, daughter of M. Night, who's really, really good in this, actually. I quite enjoyed her. Alison Pill, and oddly enough, Hayley Mills. Now, this is all about, there's this concert that is being performed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Salika, which, yeah, she's really good singing and dancing. I don't know much about her. I don't know if she's a pop star in real life, like I'm 50 odd years old, so God knows I'll go back about as far as take that me, you know how it is. But yeah, this was really good. So at this said concert, officials have got news that this serial killer is in the venue and they must try and capture him and not let him out, hence the name Trap. They're trying to set a trap to catch the serial killer. And Josh Hartnett is at this concert with his daughter, the perfect dad, yeah, the model dad, or is he? And that's what the film's all about. I don't want to say much more, but unlike other Shyamalan films, the twist comes pretty early in this. Normally they're near the end of the film, yeah, but the twist is pretty early, and then, yeah, you get the surprise, which I kind of got, but it didn't detract from the enjoyment. Yeah, good serial killer film, crime film, action film. Not up with Shyamalan's best films, Unbreakable, that sort of stuff, but pretty good, pretty functionable. Really enjoyed it. I could see myself watching it again, and one surely to stay in the collection. Yeah, very good stuff. Next up was the day before I went away. So I went away on the Friday, so it'd be last Thursday, a week gone last Thursday. And I wanted to watch a film, and then my mate turned up unannounced, which I don't mind at all, because he's my best mate. We get on with like a house on fire, but it's totally opposite to me. I think that's probably why we get on so well. He's not into his films whatsoever, but I really wanted to watch a film before I went away. I'm a bit of an addict. I knew I wouldn't be watching a film for 3 or 4 days, so I just had this urge to watch a film. So I said to him, sit down and we'll go and watch a film. Now, what do you watch for a guy who's got absolutely no knowledge, absolute no idea whatsoever? So I pulled out the bag, and this was his first time watch Shaun of the Dead. And he sat there, and Graham, bless him, he was laughing all the way through it, and I was too. And I've seen it countless times and pretty much know it word for word. And it doesn't get tired whatsoever. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Graham thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm thinking about getting him around again to watch Hot Fuzz with me, because he was actually, for somebody who's got no idea about films whatsoever, he's more into your Emmerdale and your Corrie. God knows why. He watches that sort of stuff. So I'm going to get him around to watch Hot Fuzz with me. Yeah, just brilliant. Yeah, everybody knows Shaun of the Dead, don't they? I don't need to explain it to anybody. But we sat there an afternoon. We had a tin of beer not between us, we had a tin of beer each. And we thoroughly enjoyed the film, and we had a few nibbles. Why Mrs. B was at work. Yeah, good stuff, Shaun of the Dead. And next up, actually when Graham went home, I sneaked another film in before I went away. What are you going to do? And a film that I'd not long received and was really looking forward to watching it. And that's The Naked Spur from 1953, directed by Anthony Mann. And I think Anthony Mann done 8 films with Jimmy Stewart, and this is the only one I hadn't seen. So that was why I was itching to get it on. What a great cast. Jimmy Stewart himself, Janet Leigh, the psycho heroine who didn't actually last long, Robert Ryan, underrated actor in my opinion, Ralph Millard Mitchell, and this is about Stewart's character, he's a bounty hunter and he's after Robert Ryan, who's wanted for murder, so he wants to take him in and claim the bounty. And unwittingly, he gets the help of Mika and Mitchell, who are determined when they capture him to split the bounty 3 ways. And when they find him, he is kind of boyfriend of Janet Leigh, but then she starts to taking a liking to Stewart, so that causes friction between Stewart and Ryan, who's now captured, and they're taking him in, and the 3 of them agree to split the bounty 3 ways, but they get to the way of thinking, well, the less of them to collect it, the more you're going to get. So paranoia ensues, and it's just a great Western. One that I thoroughly enjoy. The Naked Spur. Yeah, I really like this one. It's shot beautifully in technical and looks really good. And what I like about this Western is that all the characters have a bit of an edge. There's no real good guy. There's no real bad guy. And yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. And really glad now to have completed all the Anthony Mann, Jimmy Stewart films. Yeah, if you haven't seen the Naked Spur, give it a watch because it's a really, really good one. Right, after that one, we were back from our holidays, all refreshed and recovered. And the first one I saw after that was The Dressmaker from 2015, directed by Jocelyn Moorhouse, starring Kate Winslet, Liam Hemsworth, Caroline Goodall, Hugo Weaving and Sarah Snook, who was really good in this. I really like Sarah Snook. This is about Kate Winslet's character. As a child, she was in this sort of like outback town in Australia and accused of something that she never done and basically banished away from the town, never to return. But she does return as an adult, and she's been in Paris making dresses, and when she returns, she decides that she's going to return to this little town and basically wreak havoc and get her own back and basically get revenge on this town, this secular society that banished her away for something she never done. And yeah, good drama. Quite enjoyed it. I had seen it before, and I remember seeing it before, and on a rewatch, just as good. I do like Winslet. I think she's a good actress, and some of the dresses she makes for the local ladies, like she absolutely transforms Sarah Snook from this timid little dormouse type of a woman into a stunner that all the guys were looking at. And I think Liam Hemsworth, he might be my favourite of the Hemsworth brothers. Yeah, good film, quite dark in places, one you don't need to think about too much. Yeah, good stuff. Not going to win any awards, but it was alright. You know what, I've been told before that I swing a lot about on my chair, and I think I do. Well, I must do, because I just hit and a bit fell off. Bloody hell. But anyway, and I'm still not stopped. Next up on this week's Weekly Watches, and really good film, and maybe the highlight of the week. Push comes to shove, I'm going to say this was probably the best film I've seen. And it was on one of them newspaper free DVDs that you got years ago. And that was Carve Her Name with Pride. A rewatch for me. I've seen it years ago. 1958. Directed by the great British director Lewis Gilbert. Starring the wonderful Virginia McKenna, Paul Schofield, Jack Warner. Love Jack Warner. Bill Owen, who you'll probably know as Compo from Last of the Summer Wine. Now, this is the true story of Violette Jabot. She was an English woman during World War II who had a French husband who was rescued at Dunkirk and subsequently went back into action and died. She had a French mother, so she was fluent French speaking, which was very important and very useful to the Home Office, and they offered her the chance to go into Nazi occupied Germany to liaise with the resistance, the French resistance, and she took the chance. No pressure, she didn't need to do it, but with the death of her husband and her French heritage, she wanted to do what she could for the war effort, and this is her story of what happened behind enemy lines in occupied France, and what a great film it is. Recommend this to anybody. I don't want to say much more because you want to watch it for yourself, see what happened to this woman. She was an extremely brave woman in this film and in real life. Yeah, really enjoyed this. I don't think it's got a Blu-ray, but if you get hold of this free copy, or I think there's a DVD copy, grab hold of it because it's really good. And you know what? This copy weren't bad quality, upscaled to my system. It was perfectly watchable. Yeah, Carve Her Name with Pride from 1958. Yeah, good stuff, that one. Really enjoyed it. Right, good grief. Now, where do I start? The Appointment, 1982, directed by Lindsay Vickers, starring Edward Woodward, Jean Marrow, and Samantha Wason. Now, I know Marcus, X-Files 2708, has watched this and enjoyed it, and Jodie watched it, really enjoyed it. I'm not sure whether Stuart's seen it. I know Stuart's picked it up, and these are all people that I like their judgment. They've got good taste in films, and if they recommend something, I normally know I'm in for a good ride, but this film was bloody terrible. This may be the worst film I've seen all year. Imagine Joel, The Omen and Carrie had an orgy, gave birth to a shit baby, and that shit baby would be this film. God, it's slow, it's boring, it's nonsensical. The first half of the film is all dream sequences, which is my pet hate in films. There's nothing worse. You think, well, bloody hell, this is interesting. You wake up and it's just a dream. And that just kept happening time and time again as Edward Woodward seems to be battling, keeping his car on the road and dogs, and I shit you not, all because he couldn't go to his daughter's school play. It's just bloody awful, and there's no way I'm going to sit through this film ever again. Like I say, the worst film I've seen all year. And if you want to see a Ford Granada do a handstand, then this is the film. It absolutely makes no sense. At one point, he's in a hire car and he's trying to start his hire car, which won't start. And at the same time, his normal car that is in the garage, that starts instead and kills the mechanic who's working on it. That's how daft, that's how stupid, that's how ridiculous this film. God knows how it ever got made, but in my opinion, give it a wide berth. And I'm not the most skilled people in editing, but there you go. That's changed it for the better. Disappointment. What a load of crap. Bag of bollocks. Right, guys, after that bloody awfulness, thankfully one that was a hell of a lot better, and that's Comes a Horseman from 1978, directed by Alan Pakula. Now, embarrassingly, I've only seen one of his films before, and that's Sophie's Choice. I know that he's got this much revered Paranoia trilogy, which I haven't seen any of them, so if that's something I should watch, let me know down below. But yeah, I really like this one. It stars James Caan, Jane Fonda, Jason Robards, Richard Farnsworth. I like Richard Farnsworth, good character actor. This is about James Caan and Jane Fonda. They're two sort of homestead people in the Old West. I say the Old West, I think it's set in the 1940s, so not your traditional Western setting. And they're up against Jason Robards, who is a great bad guy in this. I do like Jason Robards as well. He's this evil land baron that will do what he can to claim their land for himself and put them down. And it's James Caan's struggle, and Jane Fonda, along with Richard Farnsworth, who's sort of an old boy who worked on Jane Fonda's ranch, which James Caan went to work on there with them. And it's their struggle against Robards, who was such a bad guy. Good bad guy. I love a decent villain. And Robards is right up there in this. Yeah, really appreciated his role. And it's a very slow burn. I mean, I've slagged the disappointments off for being a slow burn, because that was a slow burn, because that was bloody boring. But this is a slow burn and character building. You're learning about this guy's Fonda's character, Caan's character, Farnsworth's characters. They're all working together. They're all getting closer together. They're all getting more and more respect for each other. And as a viewer, you're getting more and more respect for each viewer. And you're feeling for them in their plight against Robards. And it keeps you invested, even though there's not going along. You don't need action all the time. Slow burn works if it's good character building. And this is what it is. This is a fantastic film. This is what it's all about. That is shite. That is great. Comes a Horseman. Brilliant film. Well, glad I got that one. Right, guys, we're at the end of these watches, and I'm not sure how long I've been rabbiting on. I hope I don't put this together. It's half hour, for God's sake. But yeah, I finished it off with Fisherman's Friends from 2019, directed by Chris Foggin, Daniel Mays, James Purfey, Tuppence Middleton. She's beautiful in this. Noel Clarke, who's a horrible git in this. He plays a good horrible git, Noel Clarke. And just a good British feel-good film about Daniel Mays. He's this record producer who goes on a stag do to Cornwall, where it's a very insular place to live, and they don't think kindly of outsiders, so at first nobody likes him, but he wins the community around and discovers this band of fishermen that sing sea shanties, and it's a true story, and sing sea shanties on the seafront, and falls in love with their music, and decides that he's gonna try and produce a record of them. And yeah, just like I say, a great English film that I really enjoyed. I'd seen it before, and you don't have to think very hard about them. Just let it wash over you. Yeah, great stuff, and a good way to finish off the week. I've got the sequel there. I must watch that soon. So that was it, guys. That's all 11 things I've watched over the past couple of weeks or so. Yeah, I'm about bloody knackered. The fan's on full go. Thanks for watching and sticking by me. Like I say, I'm not sure of the quality of this, but it is what it is. Give me a like if you've liked what I've done here today. Maybe thinking about subscribing. Don't absorb, it'll get better. I'll catch you guys all later. Take it easy and ta-ra.